story. Hit the subscribe button and make sure to enable notifications to be the first one to watch the next video.
February 28th, the night the region changed. It begins in the early hours of February 28th, 2026.
What is the status on the northern front? Hostile forces are advancing.
U.S. Central Command later says the operation starts at 1:15 a.m. Eastern Time. A coordinated wave of strikes aimed at Iran's security apparatus.
We have to act
IRGC Command and Control, air defenses, missile and drone launch sites, and military airfields.
now. Too late for that.
Across Iran, reports of explosions spread. Tehran and other strategic locations. Israel's military describes an enormous sortie, roughly 200 aircraft striking about 500 targets. And then, the claims that would dominate headlines.
Breaking news, the Supreme Leader of the Iranian Republic have been killed by airstrikes.
Iran's Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, reported killed in the strikes, according to Iranian state media cited by major outlets. CENTCOM says that after the initial wave, U.S. forces defended against hundreds of Iranian missile and drone attacks, reporting no U.S. casualties and minimal damage to installations. Markets react. Air routes shift. Diplomacy scrambles. And by afternoon in New York, the UN Security Council schedules an emergency meeting requested by Russia and China amid warnings about regional destabilization and civilian harm. This is the present tense of a crisis. But to understand why this day happened, why it was even possible, we have to rewind. The roots stretch into an earlier escalation. In June 2025, Israel launches major strikes on Iranian nuclear and military facilities. Days later, the United States strikes nuclear sites, including Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan, followed by retaliation and a ceasefire. After that war, the diplomatic track sputters. Iran signs legislation halting cooperation with the IAEA, complicating inspection access and sharpening mistrust. Talks continue anyway, indirect negotiations, back channels, and public threats. Time reports that negotiations in Geneva, shortly before February 28th, failed to produce a deal, while rhetoric from Washington grows harsher.
American citizens. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and that's the only acceptable deal.
At the same time, internal Iranian pressures rise. Economic crisis, crackdowns, and mass unrest are described in reporting as a destabilizing backdrop to the conflict's return. And then come the strategic signals. Time reports the U.S. military posture shifts, carrier groups and naval assets repositioned. Warnings intensify.
Iran is a threat to Israel and the rest of the world.
The language turns from deterrence to deadlines.
We have to act now.
Iran, for its part, warns that U.S. bases and ships in the region would become legitimate targets if attacked.
Iran has the right to defend itself. And
Statements echoed across multiple reports.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
This is the paradox of escalation. Each side says it is preventing war, while taking steps that make war more likely. In closed rooms, planners would describe it as a narrowing corridor.
This is our only option.
Fewer diplomatic exits, more military contingencies, more red lines, less trust. Whether the goal is deterrence, disruption of capability, or regime pressure, the same risk remains. Once a strike begins, control becomes an illusion. And then, February 28th arrives. The operation's opening hours are the loudest. CENTCOM says munitions are launched from air, land, and sea, and that a unit called Task Force Scorpion Strike employs low-cost one-way attack drones. Israel's air campaign, described as the largest in its history, targets missile arrays and air defenses across western and central Iran. Reports of casualties emerge. The Financial Times reports a devastating strike on a primary school in Manaf, with large numbers of children killed. As Iranian authorities describe broader civilian casualties across provinces, Iran condemns the strikes as illegal
These attacks are illegal.
and vows retaliation.
Iran retaliate attacking U.S. military assets.
Multiple reports describe missile and drone attacks across the region,
Regional leaders are definitely not happy with this move.
including toward Israel and Gulf states hosting U.S. bases. In public statements, leaders frame the meaning of the day differently.
The military is doing a great
Reuters
job.
reports President Trump presents the strikes as aimed at ending the nuclear threat and calls on Iranians to rise against the regime.
Now is the time for them to take over their country. Frankly, they may never have this opportunity.
While Israeli leadership describes strategic objectives in security terms.
Iran is getting weak.
At the United
They've taken out
Nations,
most of their missiles.
diplomacy tries to catch up with events already in motion. An emergency Security Council meeting convenes as nations urge de-escalation and warn of regional spillover. And across the region, ordinary people do what they always do when history turns violent. They call loved ones. They search for fuel and supplies. They try to read the sky, wondering what comes next. Because by the end of February 28th, the question is no longer, will this escalate? The question becomes, how far and how long?